Good morning. Would like to make a video response to the Woodlander. Mr. Woodlander, I've been watching your channel for a while and I like the ideas that you express and the concepts as well, especially with regards to parallel societies and disengaging. And I think what's happening to the Western world as of late, when there's so much fluidity as to what it means to be an Englishman, and soon they will be asking the fluid question of what does it mean to be an Irishman? The usefulness and necessity of Western nations, especially from people in England, Europe, America, Nordic states, is that they're no longer needed. Those people have served their purpose and they are really the biggest threat to the plan going forward. And so there has to be an ambush on all sides to weaken the people, weaken the nation, so that only a very few select groups get to have a culture, country, history, and heritage. No one else will be allowed such things, because they will be considered racist or anti-Semitic or just bad for the general plan going forward. And they're hoping that the men and women of these nations will be silenced from being called these names. And the unfortunate fact is that there's not much that can be done to change the trajectory of what's happening, because they have the power at this point. They have the apparatus, they have the mechanisms to make this happen, and they also have the money to use and to root out the soft people that will accept a paycheck for selling out their country, their cultures, their history, heritage, and people. And it's actually quite startling when you see just the small amounts that people will accept to do this. We're not talking millions of dollars. In some cases, it's just thousands of dollars that will be accepted to do this, because the people that are engaging in this against their own people, they're not looking very far past their nose. And many people in America and overseas, where you are, they're waking up to this and they're looking for real solutions on what to do going forward. And I've talked about this in a few of my videos, and that is rejecting what they're handing out on a silver platter, getting out of the city, getting as rural as possible, and making a real attempt to become as self-sufficient as possible with regards to generating your own power, generating your own food, your own water, so that one can make a real effort in limiting their interaction with the system, with what's going on, because the system is so ubiquitous right now and ever present that you're not going to be able to get away from it. It's just the name of the game. It's the Matrix has you, if you will, if we're going to borrow a term from their movies. You talk about disengagement, I talk about rejection, but they're all the same things. And one of the great things about getting rural is about how great of a de-stressor it is on the psyche itself, because just being in nature, looking at nature, it calms the spirit, calms the mind. I'm sure you experience that being where you are. Not only that, it allows you to start making some real long-term plans, not only for yourself, but for your family, where, especially if you're far enough outside of a borough or a city, you don't really have that many codes forcing your hand on how you can live. And with regards to real estate, it's always area, location, location, location. So if you're able to get into an eclectic area where you don't have people that are just stacking their properties with detritus and hoarding it out with old cars and trash and whatnot, you can live fairly comfortably. And as more and more people are doing this, like you say, it's developing these parallel systems where you can start exchanging services for other services. For example, if you are into the art of baking, you can very much trade some nice crusty sourdough bread for some protein-rich eggs. And when the fishing season and hunting season comes along and you're able to set back hundreds of pounds of moose meat, caribou, or fill up a freezer with salmon, that will go a long way. And once you learn how to preserve your food, it will go even further. And so you're starting to see more and more people wake up to what's going. When I came up north on the ferry, I was very inquisitive with people riding up with us, where they'd come from, what they had done, and why they were going north. And almost every one of them had said that because of the real estate explosion in price, they had sold their house to someone way over market for gobs of cash and were getting out of the system. They were moving someplace where a state was fiscally solvent, where freedom was a big tenet of the state, and also where the people kind of kept to themselves, weren't nosy, and weren't ready to be a snitch to the feds, if you will. They weren't some, what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of the word right now. It's a little early this morning, but a confidential informant. And that's what you have crawling all over the internet these days. Here on YouTube, on Gabai, on Telegram, on Twitter. You have confidential informants snitching people out who wish and express a desire to get away from this system of oppression and neo-feudalistic society that's headed our way. Not only that, but I was talking to an older gentleman who was coming to visit the area and was lamenting that, it was just him, his wife had no interest, and that he was jealous of myself because my wife and children were with me. He said, if you really start talking to these people, you'll find that we come from all different types of backgrounds, different perspectives, different observations, different skill sets. But you will find that there is a common thread linking everyone, and that is a pioneering spirit, a yearning to be free, and willing to make the sacrifices necessary to do so. And not many people want to make those sacrifices because those are very hard decisions for people to make, especially if you have a family and these family members are engaging in this system and have put stock into the system, and they have friends that will be left behind. And truth be told, most of the friendships in today's world are friendships of convenience. You know, you're put into rooms with people, and it's just human nature to make nice and try to find some common ground so that there's not much conflict or drama going in, say, a school or a workplace. And these are just friendships by convenience. And if you really want to get into the nitty-gritty, more often than not, they're just acquaintances. And as you get older and as you leave these institutions, rarely will you talk to these people again. It's not that you don't have any bad energy towards them or you don't wish them well. It's just that your life will take on a new direction and they will not be running with you, so to speak. So that's all I have to say about that, Mr. Woodlander. You're not alone in your thought process. Many people are doing the very same thing you are and feel the same way. And sometimes it can feel like a very lonely position to be in. But rest assured, our numbers are growing. People are disengaging. Parallel systems are being built as we speak. And I believe that our way of life is ultimately going to carry us through whatever is coming. Take care, everyone.